Hey guys, today I have a book haul to share with you. So, as always with these book hauls, I have 20 books that I'm going to be sharing with you guys. There's a few random books in here that I have already read and reviewed, and I'll kind of mention those as I get to them. I am so far behind. I have mentioned this in all of my latest book hauls. I'm just so far behind on book hauls. Many of these books are fairly old, like probably a year and a half at this point. That's how far behind I am with hauling. I just buy way too many books. There's only so many videos I can upload a month. So yeah, let's get going, you guys. Pull up your Goodreads if any of these books sound like something you would like to enjoy. First up, Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. I finally caved in, purchased this book because I've just been hearing so much about this book. I want to say this was like a Goodreads winner, like when this book was first released, like I think in the historical fiction category. I want to say it was like a winner that year. I just seen and heard so much about this book. Plus, it got turned into a movie that I think was fairly successful, I think, and I would like to watch the movie at some point. But yeah, Where the Crawdads Sing, what is it about? For years, rumors of the Marsh Girl have haunted Barkley Cove, a quiet town on the North Carolina coast. And that's kind of appealed to me too, because I live in North Carolina. So I'll see how North Carolina this actually feels. So in late 1969, when handsome Chase Andrews is found dead, the locals immediately suspect Kaya Clark, the so-called Marsh Girl. But Kaya is not what they say. Sensitive and intelligent, she has survived her years alone in the marsh that she calls home, finding friends in the gulls and lessons in the sand. Then the time comes when she yearns to be touched and loved. When two young men from town become intrigued by her wild beauty, Kaya opens herself to a new life until the unthinkable happens. Dear God, is someone else going to wind up dead and murdered? Next up, The Essex Serpent by Sarah Perry. I finally caved and bought this book as well after I watched the miniseries adaptation that aired not too long ago. It starred Claire Danes and Tom Hiddleston. I liked that miniseries. It was fine. I mostly was kind of watching it for Tom Hiddleston, to be quite honest, but still, I watched the show and I was sitting thinking, you know what, I have a feeling the book is probably way better than the show. Because that's kind of what I was hearing from book readers, that the book is way better than the show. But still, the show was okay. Again, watch it for Tom Hiddleston because he's pretty. So yeah, this book, London, 1893. Seeking refuge after the death of her husband, Cora Seaborn departs for coastal Essex. Once there, she hears rumors that after nearly 300 years, the mythical Essex Serpent, a fearsome creature that once roamed the marshes, has returned. Eager to investigate, Cora is introduced to parish vicar William Ransom. Oh yeah, hot vicar. Hot vicar Tom Hiddleston, you guys. As they attempt to discover the truth, these seeming opposites find themselves inexplorably drawn together, and as their pursuit becomes more urgent, Cora's London past follows her to the coast with striking consequences. Yeah, this book takes some wild turns. Next up, Never Never by Serena Valentino. This is part of the Disney Villains series by Serena Valentino, and I say this every time I talk about this particular series. I despise this series, and why? Someone, for the love of God, someone please tell me, why do I continue to purchase these damn books? Because they're terrible. I'll tell you what it is. I say this all the time. I'm a sucker for these covers. I really like the cover design because you get like the villain here on the front, and then when you open up like the flap, there's like another cool image underneath it. I'm just a sucker for kind of the design of the book in general. And yeah, these books are just garbage. Seriously, I keep purchasing them, I keep reading them, and then when I do my reviews, I still continue to bitch about them. But yeah, there is the occasional book that is pretty good. You know, there's been about maybe 3 in the series that I've actually liked and enjoyed. So that's kind of another thing. I keep going with it with the hope that there'll be just a really good one just stuck in there. So yeah, this book, I did read it. This one is focused like on the origin story of Captain Hook from Peter Pan. This book did start off pretty great. I liked the front half, but then, as it usually is with this series, the second half just takes a really huge deep dive, and that's when I just really start hating the book. So yeah, I did review this book at some point. If you want to see my Goodreads review for, if you just want to hear me just rant about it, go read my review. Next up, another Disney book. We have Disney Frozen, Polar Nights, Cast into Darkness. How many titles does this damn book have? Frozen, Polar Nights, Cast into Darkness. That's just too many titles for me. Okay, by Jean Calanita and Mari Mancusi. I've just been randomly getting these Frozen books because they look cute. I love the world of Frozen. They look really cute and whatnot. So yeah, this one, does it take place? Let me see. I'll just read the synopsis because I'm not sure if it takes place in between like 1 and 2 or after 2. Queen Anna of Arendelle. You know what? That's a straight up spoiler, you guys, for Frozen 2, ain't it? Also, because this is taking place after Frozen 2. Okay. Queen Anna of Arendelle has been preparing for the Polar Nights celebration that is held every year to welcome the days when the sun doesn't rise on the polar circle. She has been working so hard that her fiance, yeah, that's a spoiler too, because they got engaged at the end of Frozen 2, didn't they? Oh my. If you've not seen Frozen, I'm sorry. Her fiance Kristoff suggests she take time off to visit her sister Elsa, the Snow Queen. Anna loves the idea. Joined by Kristoff, Sven, and Olaf, Anna reunites with Elsa in the Enchanted Forest. After a night of spooky stories around the campfire, Olaf swears that one of the creatures from their tales has come to life. Who else could be responsible for the sudden onset of storms and the earlier than normal darkening of the skies? Why else is everyone starting to become so forgetful? Anna and Elsa join forces to determine what is going on. Together they recall Kristoff's terrifying tale about a princess who turned into a Daugr, an undead creature that steals memories to make others forget the misdeeds it committed when it was alive. It is possible that Kristoff inadvertently unearthed memories of a Daugr and thus unleashed the monster upon Arendelle. Anna and Elsa must uncover the real story behind the tale before everyone in Arendelle forgets who they are and is cast into darkness forever. Ooh, this sounds good. Okay, why did they make this into a book? This almost seems like this would be a great plot for, you know, an animated version of Frozen 3, you guys. But this sounds really cute. I can't wait to get to this. Next up, A Secret Princess by Margaret Stoll and Melissa De La Cruz. And this is supposed to be kind of like a retelling of both The Secret Garden and A Little Princess, but like both are like mashed up together. England, 1865. A school designed for families who have a specific desire to forget they ever had children. That's how Cedric Errol describes the select seminary for young ladies and gentlemen to his best and only friends in the world, Mary Lennox and Sarah Crewe. The school is as far away from Mary's childhood in India and Sarah's family in Manila as either can imagine. Cedric's past, however, remains a mystery, but soon a tragic reversal of fortune ties the fates of all 3 teens to the mercy of their monstrous headmistress. Their future seems anything but certain until one of the trio reveals a secret and a plan that changes everything. Like I said, a mashup of A Little Princess and The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. And you know, I've never read either of those books. Those are like supposed to be children's classics, and I've never read them, much to my dismay. But I have seen like different movie adaptations. I've seen a couple different movie adaptations of The Secret Garden, which I've enjoyed. And yeah, one of my, oh god, A Little Princess. You guys, like that early 1990s movie adaptation of A Little Princess. I adore that movie. I had a recent rewatch of it a couple years ago, and I forgot how much I loved it. Next up, The Daughter of Dr. Moreau by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. And I have read and enjoyed this book. I have a review of it on Goodreads and here on my YouTube channel if you want to hear my thoughts about it. Carlotta Moreau, a young woman growing up on a remote and luxuriant estate, safe from the conflict and strife of the Yucatan Peninsula, the only daughter of a researcher who is either a genius or a madman. Montgomery Lawton, a melancholic overseer with a tragic past and a propensity for alcohol, an outcast to assist Dr. Moreau with his experiments, which are financed by the Lizaldes, owners of magnificent haciendas and plentiful coffers. And then we have the hybrids, the fruits of the doctor's labor, destined to blindly obey their creator and remain in the shadows, a motley group of part human, part animal monstrosities. So if you can't tell, this is supposed to be an imaginative retelling of the island of Dr. Moreau. And I've never read that book, but I just kind of pop culture, you know, references. I kind of know what it's about and what this book in particular is kind of adapting, you know. But yeah, I really liked this book, another hit by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. Next up, The Book of Gothel by Mary McMine. And really cool cover design there. You know, the tower and Rapunzel's hair coming on down from the tower. Germany, 1156. You know, I didn't realize that it was taking place that far back in this book. But yeah, Germany, 1156. With her strange black eyes and even stranger fainting spells, young Hellwise has never quite fit in. Shunned by her village, her only solace lies in the stories her mother tells of child-stealing witches, of princesses in wolfskins, and of an ancient tower cloaked in mist, where women will find shelter if they are brave enough to seek it. But then her mother dies, and Hellwise is left unmoored. With nothing left for her and her village, she sets out to find the legendary tower her mother spoke of, a place called Gothel, where she meets a wise woman willing to take Hellwise under her wing. There she discovers that magic is found not only in the realm of fairy tales, but Hellwise is not the only woman to seek refuge at Gothel. It's also a haven for a girl named Rika, who carries with her a secret the church strives to keep hidden. A secret that reveals a dark world of ancient spells and murderous nobles behind the world Hellwise has always known. So yeah, this is supposed to be, I guess, a vaguely reimagined retelling of, like, you know, the story of Rapunzel and whatnot, but told through the point of view of the villain, you know, the Mother Gothel type character. I'm assuming she'll kind of go by Mother Gothel at some point in this book, I think. Next up, Joan by Catherine J. Chin. And if you can't tell, I think it's fairly obvious this is historical fiction about Joan of Arc, you guys. Ooh. 1412. France is mired in a losing war against England. Its people are starving. Its king is in hiding. From this chaos emerges a teenage girl who will turn the tide of battle and lead the French to victory, becoming an unlikely hero whose name will echo across the centuries. In Catherine J. Chin's hands, the legend of Joan of Arc is transformed into a flesh and blood young woman, reckless, steel-willed, and brilliant. This finely researched novel is a sweeping narrative of her life from a childhood steeped in both joy and violence to her meteoric rise to the head of the French army, where she navigates the perils of the battlefield and the equally treacherous politics of the royal court. Many are threatened by by a woman who leads, and Joan draws wrath and suspicion from all corners, while her first taste of fame and glory leaves her vulnerable to the dangers of her own powerful ambition. Yeah, it's about damn time we got, like, a historical fiction take on Joan of Arc. I've read a couple random Joan of Arc retellings of, I guess, in the past, and I didn't ever really like them, so I'm hoping this will be the change for me. I'm really hoping I like this. Next up, The Retreat by Sarah Pierce, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is book 2 in this particular series, but I think you can read them as, like, standalones, and you're not going to get spoiled about anything, so I'll go ahead and read the synopsis for this book. An idyllic wellness retreat has opened up on an island off the English coast, promising rest and relaxation, but the island itself, known locally as Reaper's Rock, has a dark past. Once the playground of a serial killer, it's rumored to be cursed. Ooh, I'm already hooked from there. A young woman is found dead below the yoga pavilion in what seems to be a tragic fall, but Detective Ellen Warner soon learns that the victim wasn't a guest. She wasn't meant to be on the island at all. The longer Ellen stays, the more secrets she uncovers, and when someone else drowns in a diving incident, Ellen begins to suspect that there's nothing accidental about these deaths. But why would someone target the guests at this luxury resort? Ellen must find the killer before the island's history starts to repeat itself. Ooh, yeah, this sounds really great, you guys. I love just vague mysteries set on just islands because they're remote. You know, they're remote and cut off. No one can get to you unless you get through a boat. Next up, I have this really heavy book right here, you guys. It's very, very heavy, very, very large. It's The Falcon's Eyes by Francesca Stanfill, and it says it's a novel of Eleanor of Aquitaine. Ooh, I like the inside. I opened it up, and there's like all of these like birds, all these birds inside, you guys. Okay. We're set in France and England, it says. Willful and outspoken 16-year-old Isabel yearns to escape her stifling life in provincial 12th century France. The bane of her mother's existence, she admires the notorious queen whom most in her circle abhor, Eleanor of Aquitaine. Isabel's arranged marriage to Gerard, a rich, charismatic lord obsessed with falcons, seems at first to fulfill her longing for adventure, but as Gerard's controlling nature and his consuming desire for a male heir become more apparent, Isabel, in the spirit of her royal heroine, makes bold, often perilous decisions that will forever affect her fate. A suspenseful, sweeping tale about marriage, freedom, identity, and motherhood. The Falcon's Eyes brings alive not only a brilliant century and the legendary queen who dominated it, but also the vivid band of complex characters whom the heroine encounters on her journey to selfhood: noblemen, nuns, servants, falconers, and courtiers. The various settings, Chateau Ravenoir, Fontaine Abbey, and Queen Eleanor's exiled court in England, are depicted as memorably as those who inhabit them. The story pulses forward as Isabel confronts one challenge, one danger after another, until it hurtles to its final enthralling page. Oh my god, that sounds great. Next up, The It Girl by Ruth Ware. I have read and enjoyed this book, so if you want to read my review on Goodreads, or if you want to check out my video review here on my channel, do so. This was a great Ruth Ware book, you guys. Definitely easily in my top favorite Ruth Ware books. April Clark Cliveden was the first person Hannah Jones met at Oxford. Vivacious, bright, occasionally vicious, and the ultimate it girl, she quickly pulled Hannah into her dazzling orbit. Together, they cultivated a group of devoted and inseparable friends during their first term. By the end of the year, April was dead. Now, a decade later, Hannah and Will, who was part of their friend group, they are expecting their first child, and the man convicted of killing April, former Oxford porter John Neville, has died in prison. Hannah is relieved to have finally put the past behind her, but her world is rocked when a young journalist comes knocking and presents new evidence that Neville may have been innocent. As Hannah reconnects with old friends and delves deeper into the mystery of April's death, she realizes that the friends she thought she knew all have something to hide, including a murder. Next up, I have another Disney-themed book here, you guys, and this is Long Live the Pumpkin Queen, coming from the world of The Nightmare Before Christmas by Shea Earnshaw. This is another book I have read and enjoyed on my channel. Go read my written review on Goodreads or watch my physical video for it. This book, I did really like it. I do feel like it got almost a little too overly sexual in places, which was a little disturbing to me. It's like these are animated characters, and it's like I don't want to know about their sex lives. I do not want to know about Jack and Sally's sex lives, you guys. It was a little disturbing for me. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, other than that, this was pretty great. Sally Skellington is the official newly minted Pumpkin Queen after a whirlwind courtship with her true love, Jack. Sally adores Jack with every inch of her fabric seams. If only she could say the same for her new role as Queen of Halloween Town. Cast in the spotlight and tasked with all sorts of queenly duties, Sally can't help wondering if she's traded her captivity under Dr. Finkelstein for a different, albeit gilded cage. But when Sally and Zero accidentally uncover a long-hidden doorway to an ancient realm called Dreamtown, she unknowingly sets in motion a chain of sinister events that will put her future as Pumpkin Queen and the future of Halloween Town itself in jeopardy. Seriously, I love this. It takes place directly kind of after the events of the animated movie, and I liked Sally having her time to shine and focus and getting a lot of her backstory, you guys, which was pretty great. Next up, Road of Bones by Christopher Golden. I love the cover design on this book as well, because it's like there's a forest and a road going through the forest, and yeah, it makes like the shape of a skull. It's pretty great. I love it. Surrounded by barren trees in a snow-covered wilderness with a dim, dusky sky forever overhead, Siberia's Koyma Highway is 1,200 miles of gravel-packed permafrost within driving distance of the Arctic Circle. A narrow path where drivers face such challenging conditions as icy surfaces, limited visibility, and an average temperature of 60 degrees below zero, fatal car crashes are common. But motorists are not the only victims of the highway. Known as the Road of Bones, it is a massive graveyard for the former Soviet Union's Gulag prisoners. Hundreds of thousands of people were worked to death and left where their bodies fell, consumed by the frozen elements and plowed beneath the road. Ooh! Fascinated by the history, documentary producer Felix Tieglin is in Russia to drive the highway, envisioning a new series capturing life and death on the Road of Bones with a ride to the town of Okhurst, the coldest place on Earth, collecting ghost stories and local legends along the way. However, when Tieglin and his team reach their destination, they find an abandoned town, save one catatonic 9-year-old girl and a pack of predatory wolves, faster and smarter than any wild animal should be. Pursued by the otherworldly beasts, Tieglin's companions confront even more uncanny and inexplicable phenomena along the Road of Bones. as if the ghosts of Stalin's victims were haunting them. It is a harrowing journey that will push Tegan to the edge of human endurance. Oh my God. Seriously, this sounds super good, you guys. Ooh. Next up, A Dreadful Splendor by B.R. Myers. In Victorian London, Genevieve Timmins poses as a spiritualist to swindle wealthy mourners until one misstep lands her in a jail cell awaiting the noose. Then a stranger arrives to make her a peculiar offer. The lord he serves, Mr. Pemberton, has been inconsolable since the tragic death of his beautiful bride-to-be. If Genevieve can perform a seance persuasive enough to bring the young lord peace, she will win her freedom. I feel like this is going to go bad, you guys. Soothing a grieving nobleman should be easy for someone of Genevieve's skill. But when she arrives at the grand Somerset Park estate, Mr. Pemberton is not the heartbroken lover she expected. The surly yet exceedingly handsome gentleman is certain that his fiancée was murdered, even though there is no evidence. Only a confession can bring justice now, and Mr. Pemberton decides Genevieve will help him get it. With his knowledge of the household and her talent for illusion, they could stage a haunting so convincing it will coax the killer into the light. However, when frightful incidents befall the manor, Genevieve realizes her tricks aren't required after all. She may be a fake, but Somerset's ghost could be all too real. Yes, oh yeah, I'm going to love this, you guys. Next up, The Wild Hunt by Emma Seckle? The Islanders have only 3 rules. Don't stick your nose where it's not wanted, don't mention the war, and never let your guard down during October. Okay, sounds easy enough. Lee Wells has not set foot on the island in years, but when she finds herself called home from life on the Scottish mainland by her father's unexpected death, she is determined to forget the sorrows of the past, her mother's abandonment, her brother's icy distance, the unspeakable tragedy of World War II, and start fresh. Fellow Islander Ian McTavish, an RAF veteran with his eyes on the sky and his head in the past, is also in desperate need of a new beginning. Ian struggles to return to the normal life he knew before the war. But this October is anything but normal. This October, the Slua are restless. The ominous bird-like creatures of Celtic legend, whispered to carry the souls of the dead, have haunted the islanders for decades. But in the war's wake, there are more wandering souls and more Slua. When a young man disappears, Lee and Ian are thrown together to investigate the truth at the island's dark heart and reveal hidden secrets of their own. Ooh, yes, this sounds really great and gripping. Next up, Fenris and Mott by Greg Van Eekhout. And this is kids literature, yeah guys, but I could not resist. I saw this cute little cover and I was like, oh damn, I have to get this cute little book. But yeah, the cover is adorable and the back is adorable as well. Mott knows how important it is to keep a promise. So when she finds a puppy abandoned in a recycling bin, oh no, and promises to keep him safe, she is ready to do everything she can to protect him. But this is no ordinary puppy, you guys. He's a legendary wolf named Fenris, who's prophesied to bring about the end of the world by eating the moon. Now, Mott has to make sure the hungry pup, who's busy munching on lampposts, cars, and water towers, doesn't see all of California as an appetizer, while also hiding him from the Norse gods who are determined to see the prophecy come true. Mott vows to protect Fenris, rescue him from his destiny, and prevent the world from ending. Will she be able to keep her promise, or has she bitten off more than she can chew? So yeah, this is going to be kind of a sort of vague kid retelling of like, you know, Ragnarok from Norse mythology and whatnot. And yeah, this little cute little puppy is supposed to be the Fenris wolf that kind of ultimately ends Ragnarok and whatnot. Next up, The Soviet Sisters by Annika Scott. Sisters Vera and Maria were brought up as good Soviets, obedient despite the hardships of poverty and tragedy, committed to communist ideals, and loyal to Stalin. Several years after fighting on the Eastern Front, both women find themselves deep in the mire of conflicts, shaping a new world order in 1947 Berlin. When Myra, an interpreter, gets entangled in Vera's cryptic web of deceit and betrayal, she must make desperate choices to survive and to protect those she loves. 9 years later, Myra is a prisoner in a Siberian work camp. When Vera, she works at the KGB, has calls to reopen her case file and investigate the facts behind her sister's conviction in Berlin all those years ago. As Vera retraces the steps that brought them both to that pivotal moment in 1947, she unravels unexpected discoveries that call into question the very history of the Soviets were working hard to cover up. Yeah, can't wait for this. Next up, Widowland by C.J. Carey. London, 1953. 13 years have passed since England surrendered to the Nazis and formed a grand alliance with Germany. So yeah, this is supposed to be like alternative history, you guys, if you can't tell. The nation has been forced to adopt many of Germany's oppressive ideologies, including a caste system that classifies women into hierarchical groups according to their perceived value in society. Oh, hell no. Rose Ransom, a member of the privileged Gelly class, remembers life from before the alliance, but knows better than to let it show. She works for the Culture Ministry, rewriting the classics of English literature to remove all subversive thoughts that might give women ideas. Uh-oh. Outbreaks of insurgency have been seen across the country, with graffiti made up of seditious lines from forbidden works by women painted on public buildings. Suspicion has fallen on Widowland, the rundown slums where childless women over 50 have been banished. My God. Rose is given the dangerous task of infiltrating Widowland to find the source of the rebellion before the leader arrives in England for the coronation of King Edward VIII and Queen Wallis, you guys. Oh no. Will Rose follow her instructions and uncover the criminals, or will she fight for what she knows and her heart is right? So yeah, like I said, alternative history, like if Germany had won the war, it sounds like. And yeah, instead of like, no, Queen Elizabeth II becoming queen kind of after all of that, it looks like King Edward did not abdicate the throne and him and Wallis Simpson did get married, so now they're king and queen. Oh God. Next up, Dead Water by C.A. Fletcher. And not gonna lie, you guys, I primarily bought this book because of the cover. I thought it was pretty cool, you know, this stark whiteness and then this splash of blue that's a rabbit. I thought that was really neat looking. On the edge of the North Atlantic lies a remote Scottish isle. The residents are a mix of those born and bred on the land and newcomers seeking a slower, quieter way of life away from the modern world. But all have their own secrets, some much darker than others. And when a strange waterborne blight begins to infect them all, those secrets come to light. Ferry service fails, phone towers go down, and slowly inconvenience transforms into nightmarish ordeal. And the outwardly harmonious fabric of the community is irreversibly torn apart. Oh my God, is that all? Seriously, is that all for the plot? This plot tells you nothing. Oh, but I'm intrigued though. I'm hooked. And the last book that I have here is Dark Earth by Rebecca Stott. It is AD 500, so it's pretty old. And sisters Isla and Blue live in the shadows of the ghost city, the abandoned ruins of the once glorious mile-wide Roman settlement Londinium on the bank of the River Thames. But the small island they call home is also a place of exile for Isla Blue and their father, a legendary blacksmith accused of using dark magic to make his fire-tongued swords formidable blades of great prestige, and cast out from the community. When he dies suddenly, the sisters find themselves facing enslavement by the local warlord and his cruel, power-hungry son. Their only option is to escape to the ghost city, where they discover an underworld of rebel women living secretly amid the ruins. But if Isla and Blue are to elude the men who hunt them and protect their new community, they will need to use their skill and ingenuity as well as the magic of their foremothers to fight back. So yeah, this sounds pretty great, you guys. And that is it for this book haul, you guys. A lot of books, some of which I read, a lot that I didn't. Let me know in the comments below any of these books that you guys have enjoyed in the past, or maybe you didn't like some of them. Give me a warning in advance. Any of these books I should read sooner rather than later. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.